All right, here we are. If you have looked at the website and looked at the various things we have going on, it's not a surprise to you that you will find a mother and son here. I'm known as Mother, also known as Jeanette, and this is Quentin, my son. So I never ever thought we would come to this point. It's a humongous sort of undreamt dream that simply has taken place. It was, I think, about a year ago that I had the sudden desire to write. I always loved to write, and for me it was mainly poems, poetry, and things like that I could just easily sit down any time, any day, and just write about anything. But I really wanted to write. I had no idea if I could. So I had this crazy idea to do an exchange with Quentin. And not knowing if he would be open to that, I never told him anything about it. I just sat down and wrote and invited him to do such a thing. And then he received it, and he didn't look at it for how long? I don't know.
Yeah, it was probably 2 or 3 months before I really looked at it. It's also something I always wanted to do. I always would write throughout my life and enjoyed writing, but I guess a part of me thought it was arrogant or egotistical to think that people would want to read it. But eventually I came to the feeling that I really wanted to write, and not to write to share it with anybody necessarily, just to write because I want to and because it feels like the right thing to do. Yes. And if people like it, if they don't, it doesn't really matter. It's about the process of just enjoying what I'm doing, enjoying what I'm writing, and being in the flow. And yeah, ultimately, obviously, the hope is that people will enjoy it. It will move people. I've always wanted to I guess just uplift people in some way or make the world a better place. So if this is the way to do it, then that would be wonderful.
Yeah, for me it was just fun. It was just plain fun. I love the joy of it, the joy of writing. And then, yes, like Quentin says, I, of course, too. I'm thrilled when people like it and when they're uplifted by it. So I do believe that we both are inspired by that for sure. So for me, what was very interesting is that, we call it the conversation with my son and conversation with my mother. But what I found out, which I think is so interesting, because having a conversation on paper, which is just correspondence, I guess what you call it, but it's different. It is different than having a conversation face-to-face. Because if you have it face-to-face, there is going to be his reaction, an immediate reaction that will point to something else within myself, and then I go from there. And so the pathways of that become completely different. That is what I found out. And I found that super interesting. So I could sit here by my little self, have a topic, and just let myself flow into that without any input from your side. But that's why it became interesting to me, because he would have to do the same thing. Of course, he would know what I had written, so there is some sort of an idea what I feel or felt like, and on what corner I'm looking at, what angle is being exposed. But and then sometimes it was the other way around.
Yeah, sometimes I would begin the subject. Something would come up and I would start writing. And yeah, it's interesting what you say about not having to look at another person's face, because a lot of times I would ponder the subjects that she would send me for days. I would just kind of let it sink in, sit in.
Yes.
And then when the moment felt right, I would respond, which obviously in a normal conversation, you can't sit there for 3 days before responding.
Oh, I kind of would like that. Actually, I love silence, believe it or not. I'm a talker, but I love silence. But that would actually be very interesting. Maybe we'll do that. Next time we have our second video, we're just going to sit here and I say something, and then after 5 minutes he's going to respond to me. Yes, no. trust me, we're not going to bore you.
But yeah, so it was the same for me. I would sit with whatever she brought up, or vice versa. I'd bring up, and then she'd sit on it. Sometimes for days, sometimes instantaneously, and a lot of times it would just simply flow, and you could just write and write and write your response without having to see a reaction.
Yes, because to me it was very interesting. Like you say, sometimes it was just something that immediately had a click.
Yeah.
And wow, it's just like opening the faucet, you know. But then sometimes I remember, I think it was like the third chapter or something. It's called Seeing, you know. And he brought something up that I had never really thought about or looked at from the way he looked at it. So it's very interesting. So I immediately wrote something, but then I said I have to take a break for a couple of days because I had to investigate it. I had to feel it. I had to know what it was for me. So this is why I think our conversation has brought deeper depth for us. We have always had a huge connection.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. But this has really brought up a whole different level.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like diving into each other's depths and souls, and feeling what is expressed, and it's like seeing through the eyes of the other world, and anew in a way,
in a newer way. Yes, I was
expanding.
Yes, I was very thrilled by his way of putting things, and his way of seeing things, and his poetry. Yes, wait till you read his poetry.
Maybe not everybody will like it.
No, of course not. You know, but if you're not looking at this, maybe you're not going to be interested anyway. So if you're looking at this, maybe you'll be interested, and I think you'll be in for a nice surprise. The funny thing is, Quentin is fabulous at rhyming. I can't rhyme for nothing, you know, right?
Yeah. So all my poems, actually most of them, I think there may be one that doesn't rhyme, but I think they mostly rhyme. It's just always been easy for me. I don't know, I write Christmas cards and birthday cards.
Oh my God,
poems for everybody, and so yeah.
Oh my gosh, one day, yes, we will do that. The whole family is always blown away by his poems at Christmas and birthdays, because he would bring out the characteristics, the personality to a T, but in a fun, beautiful way, and then always throws in there something really inspiring and very beautiful. So someday maybe I'll read you one of the cards he's written to me.
Or maybe one day I'll make birthday cards to purchase at a store. Who knows?
Oh no! You know, which is great. I knew my mother had a brother, my uncle, right? You have to realize my mother had 13 siblings, so I only knew one or two of them. But anyway, so he would write. He was the writer or the poet of the village. And people would come and knock on the door, and they said somebody's birthday, and this and this and this, and a little bit of the person, and he would come up with that. Yes, he could do that. He can really do that. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So we had a tremendous amount of fun with all of this.
Yeah.
Right,
no, it flowed extremely quickly. Once I finally decided to respond to her invitation to write, it was daily. Sometimes we were writing chapters, or at least one a week, and within 4 months, we'd written...
3 months, I think we'd written the whole thing. It was 22 topics, and somebody said, you wrote a book. I said, I don't even know I wrote a book. I would get up in the morning and do my little things, and all of a sudden I was called to the computer, and I sit down for 30 minutes or whatever, and I never, and maybe that's wrong, corrected anything in my writing. It always kind of flows, Of course, the one who edited possibly had a headache. my knowledge of my grammar is maybe not so good. I don't know. I'm just having fun. I love it, and this is we're
just enjoying the process, and we hope you join us. We hope you connect with us. Join the conversation. You can find us on caruthconversations.com, and there we also have all our links to our YouTube channel, which obviously if you're watching this, you already see that, but please subscribe. And you can find us on Instagram and Twitter and Pinterest as well. So we hope to invite you into our conversation. We hope to eventually converse actually with you as well, to meet with you, to talk talk with you. If you have things you'd like to ask or questions, or we'd love to comments. We'd love to interact with you at some point. Time, if the time is available to do so. When the time is available, time will tell.
Time will tell. So, but this was our first video, I think, right?
Yeah.
You concluded, right? Yeah. So the unfolding keeps unfolding, and we love having you with us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.